Good day, everyone. You're welcome to today's session um, of the SAP Overview training. Yesterday, we talked about, several modules, which range from the SAP FI module to the CO module to the SD module and also the PS module. Please, if you did not join this session yesterday, kindly just go back to our videos on YouTube. The channel is Tamunofiri Iyoyo. When you go there, you'll be able to at least acquaint yourself with what was taught yesterday. So having said that, we'll just jump right into today's session. We'll make this as snappy as possible. Just like yesterday, we'll divide this session into two 35-minute sessions. Basically, this is just to help us assimilate and then stretch our legs for a little bit after the first 35 minutes. And then the second 35 minutes will conclude the session. Okay, so today's session, we will continue with the logistics model, the SAP logistics model. Just as we said yesterday, there are several modules which are in the logistics module. So just a brief recap of what we have in the logistics module. We have the SAP SD, we have the SAP MM, we have the SAP production planning, we have the SAP quality management, and also SAP plant maintenance. What we did yesterday was the SAP SD for the logistics model. And as I said before, we have covered the accounting models, which was the FI, the CO, and the PS. So please, you can always go back to our previous videos on our YouTube channel to get acquainted with what was taught yesterday. So the SAP MM model is basically focused on the procurement and inventory management processes of any organization. It is a crucial module in SAP that other modules depend on for efficient supply chain operations. It ensures that stock is managed effectively. So just as you have procured the stock from a vendor, also, of course, you have to keep the inventory as well. And it's closely integrated with the the SD, and also the FI model, and also CO, as we saw yesterday, and also the PS, as we saw yesterday. The SAP MM modules, what are the components in the SAP MM module? The components, we have the master data. Just as we said yesterday, there are several kinds of data in the SAP system. We have the master data, we have the transactional data, and the configuration data. Every module sits on these three types of data. So in the MM module, we have the master data management. The master data in the MM module is a central repository for all information about materials used within the company, including the material type description, the unit of measure, the stock levels, and all. So these are, the kind of master data, material master we have on the SAP MM module. So we have the vendor master as well. It stores detailed information about suppliers, such as contact details, payment terms, and the purchasing history as well. Then we have the purchasing info record. It contains data on the relationship between a material and a vendor, including pricing, delivery times, and other quantities. So everything, between you and that's your company and the vendor's company, it just integrates, that particular data so that you'll be able to know exactly, for instance, if the vendor calls his a particular material a different name in his organization and you call your own material a different name in your organization, you can be able to integrate it using the purchasing info records. Okay, so the next component we are going to be looking at is the procurement process. Okay, the procurement process, which entails, of course, purchase requisition, which is an internal document which just requests for the purchase of a material or services. It's an internal document within your organization. If you want to raise a request to buy a particular material, you need to raise a purchase requisition on the system. Then we have the request for quotation, which is another document, which is a document sent to vendors to solicit for quotes for needed materials or services. Then we have the purchase order, which is a formal order issued to a vendor to supply specified materials or services at agreed terms. And need I just add, at particular quantity, at a particular quantity, and also price as well. Okay, then we have the goods receipt, the process of recording the receipt of materials from a vendor. And of course, you have to update your stock levels and you have to update your inventory levels on the system. Invoice verification, which is a matching vendor invoices with purchase orders and goods receipt to ensure accurate payments. If you recall yesterday when we were talking about payments in the FI module, we talked about the three-way matching, which is verifying the quantity on the PO, verifying the quantity on the goods receipts, and also the quantity and the amount on the invoice. So this invoice verification, is done during the entire procurement process on SAP MM. So it starts with a purchase requisition, then a request for quotation, then a purchase order, goods receipt, and finally the invoice verification. This is basically the process in the procurement process. We have the inventory management, one of the sub-modules or components now of the SAP MM, which entails, basically giving your stock overview. It gives you a real-time visibility into how much stock you have in your warehouse or in your store, as the case may be. If it's reserved or if it's in transit stock, probably you are going to deliver that particular stock to a customer. Is it in transit? Okay. Then we have the goods movement, managing various types of inventory movements, such as receipts, issues, transfers, or returns, as the case may be. For instance, you have sold something to a customer, the goods issue, that's goods movement to that particular customer. Has custody changed hands? Then there is, of course, the returns process. Are you going to, when the customer says, okay, this is defective, probably after he has received the product, if it's defective, he has to take back the product. So this, that's the returns process. Okay. Then we talk about the physical inventory, conducting physical counts of inventory and reconciling with system records to ensure accuracy. Okay, so the next we'll be talking about is the physical inventory. The physical inventory document created on the system is a document created to initiate inventory counting process. We'll get to see, what it looks like on the system. Most times stock is frozen to provide reference point for comparison with actual physical count. We'll see how the screen looks like on the system. Then we have the inventory count, which is a physical count done by the warehouse personnel, which could be cycle, which could be periodic or continuous inventory counting and recorded in the inventory document. We have the inventory differences as well, which basically just shows the difference between system count and physical count, and then whatever is, difference are there, it's either updated or adjusted and posted when necessary to appropriate financial accounts. Okay, so this is one of the screens we'll be displaying for the material master. As we said earlier, the material, you need to have your master data for you to be able to update whatever is on the system, for you to be able to carry out transactions. Okay, so we have the material master. This is how you create the material master. It's MM01. MM01 to create the material master. We are just displaying a particular material on the screen. So what we're seeing is several views now. We have the basic data 1, basic data 2 classification. Those tabs now, you can actually use those tabs to fill out whatever details now the material is about and how you want the material to behave on the system. Okay, then we have the PO. This PO, purchase orders, basically are critical documents used to formalize the purchase of materials or services from vendors. When you want to create a PO, there are basic things that you need to impute into the system. Okay, you need to impute the vendor and the organizational data. You need to provide, the header data as well, which would include, the document type, the date, currency, terms of payment, and the likes. Now, all these are not on this particular slide now, but however, if we are going to do a formal training and our consultants will show you exactly how a PO can be created. So you specify the item details, you set pricing conditions, set things like the release strategy on this particular screen. Okay. So the next thing we'll be talking about is the material document list. The material document list. Now, the material document list is used to generate, detailed report of material movements within the system. Okay, it just shows you a detailed report of material movements within the system. This report is useful to track inventory changes, verifying stock levels, analyzing material usage, and the like. So if we look at, there is a column, MVT, which is the fifth column, or rather the seventh column from the right. So we see movement types, 101, 103, all these are movement types. So basically what the material list tells you is what has happened to a particular material on the system. Then the next we'll be looking at is the inventory documents, physical inventory documents. The T code for this is MI01, to create a physical document. Remember when we talked about creation of inventory count, when we're talking about that, we said that you have to create a physical a physical inventory document, then you have to then count the document. A warehouse personnel will count those stock and then update using this particular physical document. So once you do that, it creates, a physical document which you can now use in displaying. So if you check the far right of this particular screen, you'll see that it's been counted. Some of them, you see the counts, Then if you drill down into this particular physical document, you will now see details of the counts. So this is what we do when we come to physical inventory count on the system. So that's a summary of the model on the system. As we said yesterday, if you have any questions whatsoever, you could always ask on the comment section in our YouTube channel, which is Terminal Theory EOU. This video will be posted. You could play back and also ask questions. All right, so we are going to be talking about the SAP production planning model. The production planning model focuses on planning, scheduling, and control of manufacturing processes. It ensures that production runs smoothly and efficiently, aligning with the overall business strategy. So basically, it's just planning, scheduling, and controlling of manufacturing processes, so that production, will run smoothly. On the far right, what you can see are just the components, of the production planning model, which ranges from materials requirement planning to bill of material to routings to capacity planning. We are going to drill down into these components in a bit. Okay, so the master data that could be seen on the PP model, which is production planning, we have the material master. Of course, this we saw in the model. It's a central repository for all material related information, including data required for production planning, such as material type, base unit of measure, and production scheduling profile. We have the bill of materials, which is the detailed list of all components, assemblies, and raw materials required to produce a finished product. We have the work center, which is physical locations within a plant where production operations are performed, including details on capacities and available resources. We have the routing, which is a sequence of operations required to produce a product, specifying the work centers and tools used for each step. and the time needed. Okay, then we have the production version, which combines the BOM, which is the bill of materials, and routing to provide different ways to manufacture a product. So this is just a BOM screen. BOMs are structured list of components, as we said earlier, or materials required to produce a finished product. So what we're seeing here is the final product, which is premium motor spirit, is comprised of two other products, which we see below, which is propane and ibutane. This is just the test system. So this is not actually the real component, but this is just to give you an idea of exactly how the BOM works on the system. So when you want to create a BOM on the initial screen, you have to enter the material, the plant, and of course the BOM usage. The BOM usage, is it going to be used for MRP, that's materials requirement planning? Is it going to be used for sales and distribution? Whatever the usage might be, you have to put that particular usage. And the T code for that is CS01. Okay. Next, we're going to see demand management. Demand management is, we have several components of that, which is planned independent requirements forecast and planned quantities of finished products based on historical data and market trends. Then we have sales and operations planning, which is a high-level planning process integrating sales forecast with production planning to balance supply and demand. Then the main component now, which we've been talking about, which is the MRP, materials requirements planning. It calculates material requirements based on demand, considering existing inventory, planned orders, and lead times to generate procurement and production proposals. It displays the results of the MRP run, including planned orders, purchase requisitions, and stock requirements. So what we're seeing here is an MRP list. Basically, what you have in an MRP list is all the stock. Okay, it provides a comprehensive overview of the materials requirements and planning details for a specific material or a range of materials, as the case may be. This transaction is usually used to run a MRP for a specific material or a range of materials within a plant. So basically, once you want to plan an MRP run, you have to carry out, this particular transaction, which, is MD01. This is just displaying MD05, which is a list, material list. Okay, so the next we'll be looking at is capacity planning. Capacity planning requirements in SAP PP ensures that work centers have, the necessary capacity to meet production demands. Capacity evaluation analyzes available capacity and identifies potential bottlenecks or underutilized resources in work centers. Okay, then production order management, which is one of the components as well. Production orders details instructions for manufacturing a specific quantity of a product, including the required materials, operations, and resources. Order release authorizes the commencement of production based on the production order. Order confirmation records the completion of production operations and updates inventory levels. Then one of the components as well is the shop floor control, which entails work scheduling, which plans, the sequence and timing of production operations to optimize workflow and resource utilization. The shop floor data collection, which captures real-time data from the shop floor, including progress, machine utilization, and labor efficiency. So what we're seeing on the screen at the moment is what we call the production order. Production orders basically are used to plan and execute, the manufacturing of production assemblies. So when you want to do this, you have to enter, your order type, the quantity, the plant, the material, You have to also specify the kind of operation, that particular production order is. Because as we said, it's just to plan and execute the manufacturing process now. Those who wish to go into production planning, probably you are an engineer or a shop floor person. I think this is a model which you would really appreciate. The next we'll be going into is the quality management. Quality management focuses on quality control and management within an organization. It helps ensure that products meet compliance, regulatory, and customer requirements by integrating quality management processes into supply chain. These are the basic components on the far right of the screen: quality inspection, quality control, quality notifications. We'll just dive right into what they are about. Quality planning, inspection planning. Of course, it entails inspection planning, which defines, inspection methods, sampling procedures, and the quality characteristics for materials and products. Quality inspection plans create and maintain detailed plans for performing quality inspections at various stages of the production process. Then we have the logistics module, which quality inspection now. The quality inspection lots generate inspection lots for incoming materials, in-process products, and finished goods to be checked against predefined criteria. What does quality inspection entail as well? Inspection results, recording documents. It basically documents the outcomes of inspections, including measurements and defect identification. Quality certificates is a document which, handles quality certificates from suppliers and provide the quality certificates also to customers. Also, it's a document that defines the structure and content of certificates. So we have the certificate profiles, which is just like a list of the several certificates, which basically shows the content of the quality of each of the certificate or products now that you have. One of the components of QM as well, quality management, is the quality control, which shows the quality charts, which shows the control charts. It uses a statistical process control technique to monitor production processes and detect the variations where necessary. Then we have the quality notifications, where you manage and track issues related to non-conformances, deviations, and also customer complaints. We'll see one of these screens in our next, when we're looking at the screens now. That's the quality notification. Quality assurance, which is one of the major components now of the quality management as well. We see the vendor evaluation, where we assess suppliers based on quality criteria and performance, and integrate, this evaluation into, the procurement process. For also quality assurance, we have what we call the audit management, where we plan and execute internal and external audits to ensure compliance with quality standards and regulation. Of course, quality improvement, where, we have the corrective and the preventive actions, where we implement and track actions to address root causes of quality issues and prevent recurrence. We also have the continuous improvement under the quality improvement, where you use quality data to identify areas for improvement and drive continuous quality and enhancement initiatives. So I said earlier, we're going to be talking about, the quality notification. For instance, you have gotten a particular you have delivered a particular product to a customer. However, he has said, "Oh, I'm sorry that this product you delivered to me is defective." What you have to do is you go into the system and you create a quality notification, just to tell, the team that, "Oh, you see, this particular product that we delivered to this customer is defective, and okay, it deviates from our quality standards." So there are several things, you can insert into this particular document. You can show the defects, you can show the person who is responsible, and also assign, responsibility to certain people. Please check this particular product. So that's it for the QM. Then we have the SAP plant maintenance, which is one of the key modules in SAP. Plant maintenance is a module within the SAP ERP system that supports the maintenance of equipment and facilities. It is designed to ensure the reliability and efficiency of physical assets, reducing downtime and maintenance cost while improving the overall productivity. So basically what the PM does is it supports the maintenance. Once you want to maintain, anything, it could be, ranging from, say, your power system to elevator system, whatever it is now within the organization, you can always use the plant maintenance model to ensure that, maintenance of such equipments are carried out effectively. So it ranges, the components range from inspection to preventive maintenance to repairs. So there are certain technical objects now. When we talk about the plant maintenance, we have the functional locations. It represents the organizational units where maintenance tasks are performed, such as plants or departments, the equipment, individual pieces of machinery or devices that require maintenance, bill of material, which we saw earlier, list of components required for, particular maintenance task. Of course, that is one of, when we talked about master data, being, one of the core components of transactions, those are, the master data which you need on the system for you to be able to carry out, those transactions or those maintenance tasks now. So maintenance planning, we have maintenance plans where we define scheduled maintenance activities based on time, performance, or condition-based triggers. Then we have the task list, standardized list of maintenance tasks, including steps, tools, and materials needed for recurring activities. Then work order management, which is one of the components as well. We have what does work order management do? Maintenance notifications, reports, issues, or requests for maintenance work, initiating the maintenance process. These, of course, many a times it goes through a workflow process. For instance, it could trigger, say, after a few months, if, for instance, you need to change certain equipment or change, let's say, for instance, oil on your generators or oil your gears or something. These notifications can be set in such a way that, it reminds those who would carry out those maintenance. Maintenance orders gives you detailed orders generated from notifications, specifying the tasks, the resources, and schedule for maintenance activities. Then in plant maintenance as well, we have the preventive maintenance, which entails, scheduled maintenance and also condition-based maintenance. Scheduled maintenance, as we said earlier, for instance, you want to oil your gears every once in a while. That's the scheduled maintenance. If it's a condition-based maintenance, these are maintenance activities triggered by specific conditions or indicators, okay, such as vibration or temperature thresholds, as the case may be. So one of the components as well is the maintenance execution, where we have the resource planning, the allocation of personnel, tools, and materials needed to execute maintenance tasks. We have the order confirmation, which is a record of the completion of the maintenance task, including actual time, the materials used, and any issues which must have been encountered. So there are certain things now when it comes to the PM module. For instance, if you want to see a maintenance history of a particular product, you can do that. If you want to see the performance metrics of a particular equipment, you can also do that. And also the cost analysis, tracking and analyzing the cost associated with maintenance activities. You can also do that with the PM model. So finally, we will be talking about, the human resource model, which is the SAP HCM. It's the human capital management. It's a comprehensive model within the SAP ERP system designed to manage and optimize an organization's human resources process. It encompasses, a wide range of functionalities that support various HR activities from recruitment and onboarding to payroll and performance management. On the far right, we can see, the components ranging from employee administration to time management to benefits management to recruitment to learning management to organizational management. These are, I will just break those components down. Organizational management, what is that? It shows the organizational structure. It defines the hierarchy and the structure of the organization, including, departments, positions, and also reporting relationships. Also, in organizational management, we talk about the job and the position management. It manages job descriptions and positions within the organization and links them to organizational units. Then one of the components also is the personnel administration, which we see that where we have the employee master data, which is the central repository for all employee-related information, including personal details, employment history, and contractual data. And also under the personnel administration, we have the employment life cycle management, which handles various stages of an employee's life cycle, from hiring and promotions to transfers, terminations. This particular model, we call it the hire to retire, okay? From when you onboard, your employees to also when you offboard the employees. It takes care of that. So in the HCM as well, one of the major components is the time management, attendance and absence tracking. It records and manages employee attendance, absences, leave requests, and working hours. HCM takes care of that as well. It also shows the work schedules. You can also manage the work schedules and shifts in the HCM model, where you define and manage, work schedules, shift patterns, time quotas, and the likes. Now, then payroll, of course, payroll processing manages the calculation and processing of employee salaries, wages, bonuses, and deductions, and also where legal compliance such as tax laws, insurance regulations, and other legal requirements now in the organization. Payroll, is, one of the components of the HCM, and it caters for a wide range of possibilities. No matter how you want to customize it, you can also always customize to fit, your company's operations and scenarios. Then personal development, of course, it also helps to manage training and development of employees. Employees could go there to schedule, you could schedule trainings, you could schedule training outcomes, you could also see training outcomes. You could also update skill and competencies of your employees using the HCM model. Also, one of the major component of the HCM module is the performance management, from appraisal and evaluation of your employees to goal management to recruitment processes, onboarding, and of course, offboarding. Performance management generally, the HCM module takes care of that. There is also the compensation management, where you have your salary planning, you have your incentives and bonuses, which you can also manage using the HCM model. There is what we call the ESS MSS. What does the ESS MSS entail? Employee self-service allows employees to access and manage their personal information, submit leave requests, view pay slips online, and the likes. Now, then the MSS is where managers, can handle HR tasks such as approving leave requests, monitoring team performance, managing employee records, and the likes. Now, so these basically we've covered, the three or the three main functional areas now in SAP. We first looked at the accounting modules, okay? And then we looked at the logistics module and finally the HCM module. So you can always go back if you missed out on anything. And if you have questions, you can always ask, in the comment section. In the industry-specific modules now, we have the IS retail. There are several of them, but whatever industry, SAP has a solution for that particular industry. So we can always explore whatever industries now we wish to go into, know how it works and the likes now. So how do we get started with SAP? Okay, we would treat this particular section in our next video. So please feel free to go back, to previous videos. Just, have an idea of what SAP is and what the modules look like, where you think you fit into, and then we will get into this next video on how to get started as either a consultant or a user in the SAP system. Thank you so much for joining us in the videos in these sessions. I hope you really learned something. Please, you can like, you can comment, you can share, and your feedback is really going to be beneficial to us. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Cheers.